Hello and welcome to the Empowered Woman series. My name is Marianne Elling. I'm the founder of Empowered Woman. And this is such a beautiful series. It's about women who I've been completely inspired by. And I know that they will inspire you too to own your sovereignty and really be the queen of your castle. I'm really on a mission to make sure every woman on this planet is seen, heard, and felt. And through these stories, we begin to change the narrative of what is. So, my very special guest today is all the way from Berlin. Her name is Amber Bongard. And welcome to the Empowered Women series. So, if you can tell everyone just a little bit about yourself, who are you and what are you about?
Yeah, sure. Hello. Yeah, my name is Amber. I'm from Berlin. I'm a yoga teacher, um, a writer, used to act in movies as well. And I found this path um, 4 years ago now, um, through embodied movement. And I mean, that was a very smooth transition from yoga to dancing to embodied movement. And then through that, I found Marianne and the whole psycho awareness and really, really owning my pathway. And so, yeah, that has been influencing everything that I'm doing, my writing, my teaching, my being, my living, everything. So that's
You are, for me, such a fully empowered woman, and watching you walk in your path. I mean, she's really underplaying who she is and who she be. She's a published author, and she's just such a woman who feels so deeply and has embodied all the work and all the tools. So I'm going to jump a little bit forward on these questions today. So, what is your empowerment story?
hmm. So basically, I found this when I'm not sure, I think I was in the middle of a breakup after a 5 year relationship. And so it was really a break point in my life. I moved back in with my parents for a while, and I was just like, oh, what the fuck is going on? But I've been dealing with obviously body image issues and anxiety for a long time before. And I think in hindsight, I could even say that that was also one of the reasons the relationship didn't work, or one of many reasons. But one was that I was constantly so overwhelmed with what was going on. I didn't feel in touch with my body at all. I didn't feel as I was the one living my life. So then through embodied movement, I got slowly introduced back into my body. Oh, okay, this is, and which is funny because you would think that as a yoga teacher, I'm always super connected to my breath and always super connected to my senses. But it's a different kind of non-judgment behavior that I was given and that I learned through these embodied movement sessions. Truly just stepping into the witnessing mode and be like, oh, this is what's present today. And oh, this is how Amber is feeling today. And interesting. And just really stepping into this curious way of living. And that in the span of, I think, a month changed so much. And as I said, I was living with my parents again during that time, and they could witness it completely. Like, okay, wow, I don't know, there were more moments where just sitting calmly and just watching something because I was so connected to what I was feeling inside. And that was really beautiful in regards to constantly trying to manage the outside world in order to feel something, in order to be calm. So I think, yeah, that was really the spark, the beginning. And I mean, I'm a Taurus moon. I'm really connected to my body and to my senses. So it kind of makes sense for me that that was the gateway. And then it was funny because it was an even smoother transition into the womb wealth health direction, and meeting you, because then again, obviously with my yoga background, I've been meditating for 15 years. That was something that comes really easy to me. And then you started to do these visual journeys with us, and the womb, heart breath. So in that moment, I realized, oh, the energy is even more subtle than I thought. You know, sometimes it's grand, big movements and bah, and shaking and allowing myself to scream and to cry and to, you know, let it all out. But then after doing that for a year, I met you, and it became in a way more subtle and more delicate and even more detailed. In that moment, I realized, oh, this is the key I've been wishing for so long, because I never had a regular cycle before. I always had the most painful cycles. And even though I always felt like a woman and happy to bleed and proud to be a woman, I couldn't even imagine how much shame there was around my first time having sex, or yeah, the shame I felt doing my relationship, not being in control of my feelings, or not being, you know, the cool, calm, chill girl at times. And then when I heard you speak about the cycle and the awareness and the body and the mind and the soul and everything that connects to it, it's like, oh, this is the wisdom I've been waiting for. And so I would say it's a two-part punch, my embodied movements. One, connecting to the body, allowing myself to just witness and get it all out there. And then the second path, or like level up, was also, it kind of felt like a study in the beginning, like literally sitting down, be like, okay, these are all the information, and getting it all done. And then the theoretical study turned into like a real study on my own body. Okay, like witnessing myself, my cycle for a whole year, like every day writing it down and really getting my discipline on, you know. And now it just all smooths in together to a beautiful mesh.
Oh. So for women who are feeling empowered and inspired by your story, because they definitely will be, I just actually, just before you finish, will you take them through the journey of writing your book? Because I feel like that is such an empowering journey in its own as well.
Yeah. Ooh, goosebumps. So basically I've been writing my whole life. I've been writing poetry for a long, long time. And then again, in the same time, being back at my parents' house and feeling super low, not like super confused, I really started to write. Like I used this poetry writing as a way of getting out of my head, as a way of understanding this whole mess. And then there was one night where I was like super, super frustrated and confused and scared and overwhelmed. And I just kept journaling in my journal, like, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, and I have to mention that even though my mother tongue is German, I've been pretty much always writing in English, especially when it comes to like spiritual, emotional topics, because all of my teachers, yoga teachers, spiritual teachers, mentors, speak English. So it's in a weird way, it's easier for me to connect to that part of my psyche through that language. So anyways, I was writing like, what am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? And then the next morning, and that was the last thing I wrote. I put my journal down, I tried to sleep. Next morning, I woke up just like with a sentence in my head, writing myself out of misery. And I realized, oh, that's the answer. That's what am I doing? You're writing yourself out of misery. So in that moment, it completely clicked. I was, oh, okay. I don't know, it was just all there. You always talk about your downloads, and maybe that's the closest I got to it, because in that moment I was like, oh, it's a book. It looks like this. And then I went through all the poems I had, and I just knew, like, you're in, you're not, you know, it was just weird, but yeah, it was really nice. And then that was also a really big anger for me, especially because it was connected to the phase where I decided to quit acting, where I decided to stop working as an actress. So it was a really beautiful, again, transition to have this anchor of writing. And to always, anytime I was confused, was like a mantra. Oh, I'm writing myself out of misery. Oh yeah. And again, in a weird way, without any judgment, like not, oh, misery, but like more like, oh, it's misery. and I can write myself out of it. No problem. So yeah, and I think then it took about a year until it was finished. And also through the embodied movement and everything I learned kind of made sense how I ordered the book. I ordered it in a cycle, not linear, obviously, and went also in the book through the chapters, through all those transitions from like complete trenches, depression, having no overview at all, into the sense of frenzy, like female rage. And okay, you might all think I'm crazy, but at least I'm not dead, you know? And then moving into the separation, like really seeing in a clear space, like, okay, and this is obviously the part where I digested the breakup. It's like, okay, I'm separating myself from things that are not serving me and seeing what's out there, and then finishing with the rise, which is actually then just bringing it all together and realizing, oh, woof, after the trenches, oh, there's the world, okay. And then we might go back in again. Yeah.
You are so inspiring. I literally witnessed this woman travel and write herself out of misery, and just witnessing you on the other side. I love it. Oh, there is light here. I think we so often forget, we're so used to being in the descent, we often forget about the light. So you are so empowering. So I'm very interested to know, what does it mean to you to be an empowered woman? What is your definition of that?
Mm. Hmm. I would say the first thing is the sense of belonging to myself. I would say before I was constantly searching for a sense of belonging in the outside world or with someone else. And then through this empowerment journey, for the first time, I felt the sense of, oh, I belong to me. And when I'm lost, when I'm scared, I can come back to me, to my inner home. Like, oh, wow, that's one thing. The other huge thing is not finding excuses anymore. And oh, that's been such a weight off my shoulders to stop constantly being like, oh, I think I'm PMSing, or oh yeah, I'm on my period, or oh, I'm just cheeky because blah 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 blah. Just stop finding excuses, not meaning like obviously I can explain things like that for myself. You know, I live in a partnership at the moment. Of course, there are moments where I'm like, oh, I think that came out strong. I'm not, things are going on, obviously. But before, it just felt like I was trying to explain something that I didn't even understand myself. So it just came out as, yeah, excuses and wishy-washy, as don't take me too seriously, I don't know what's going on. And that stopped completely. I'm like, I know who I am, and what I know is that I change every day. So that is something I can come back to every day. I can anchor myself in this wisdom. So that changed a lot. And then biggest bonus, it's almost like a subculture, clan, sisterhood, peoplehood. You would recognize yourself, I don't know, sometimes I sit just in a train and I'm in my heart and I'm just looking around and I just lock eyes with another person, usually a woman. And it's almost like, I see you. And that's so beautiful. And also, sometimes I was at a festival the other day, and then I met a woman, and literally it took us 3 sentences until we were completely in the deep end talking about, I don't know, being a woman, being a light being, you know? And it was just so nice because it's almost like there's no loneliness anymore, because I can see myself in so many people around me, and they can see me, and we can learn from each other. And I think in the moment I allowed myself to step into this grounded, empowered place, everybody around me could feel it too, and I could recognize them. And and even better, sometimes I meet women, I'm like, wow, you're so inspiring, I can learn so much. I mean, most of them are like that. I can learn so much from you. You are at a different level, not meaning like, it's literally levels, but more like, oh wow, that inspires me. And sometimes there are young girls coming to me, and I can literally see them, they're still in the mess, they're still in the confusion, they're still in the, oh, is there ever a way out of here? And it's so healing to be able to show them a little bit, and I wouldn't say guide them, but, inspire them at least, and say, yeah, there is a way out of this mess. You won't feel like that forever. So yeah, that's how it feels like.
I feel like you're fully equipped to guide. You should be guiding younger women. I've always seen that for you. But for those who have been inspired by your story, because it is really inspiring, what is any advice you have for them about being an empowered woman?
It kind of depends where you are in your journey. I would say right in the beginning, the most important thing is forget all the rules, forget everything, forget it all. Because when I started, I didn't even realize how many rules I had in my head. And then as soon as I said, you know what, screw it all, I'm surrendering, I'm giving up, I'm like, I just start walking. They just came bashing in, You shouldn't change your clothes twice a day because that means that you're anxious, or no, you don't eat 2 bananas a day because blah, blah, blah. It was just, I don't even want to repeat them because they were so stupid. It was just so much. And just allowing myself to step into full-on rebel mode and say, no, 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 not here. That I think that's the biggest thing. So if you're, I don't know, I think it helps any time of the path, but especially in the beginning, I would say really allow yourself to forget all the roads. And I can promise you, you won't die, you won't burn, you won't, you will become more free and more yourself. And then I think another advice, and that's the one I think I was really glad I heard more in the, it's weird to talk about beginning, middle, and end because, it's, but just to make it clear, I think when I was right in the deep, icky stuff, was really helpful for me to hear you constantly repeat, this is a descent and you will come up again. And there will never be an end to it. And I think that was really helpful because that's a weird illusion that we have, in a weird way, like, oh, one day I will never ever feel this one. And that's the thing. I hate to break it to you, but this actually won't go away. It will get better because you will enjoy the ride more and you will feel more connected, and this for sure. But I think that's an advice I would give for someone who's maybe completely in it right now. Like, just enjoy the turbulences. They will change for sure, but there's no finish line to reach, and that's actually also very nice because for me, when I really realized that, oh, it released all the time pressure I had. It's like, oh, okay, then I can also enjoy it, you know? And then, but again, knowing that everything, if you don't, the image that I always use is Ron and Harry stuck in these weird plant webbings. I think it's in the first Harry Potter book, and Hermione is just relaxing and she's just floating through, and they're fighting, and so they get stuck, and that's always the image I use. Like, if you
I
relax
love that.
through a really bad phase, you will move 100% into a next phase, and then if you relax there, you will move. And yeah, so that's, I think, an advice I would give for someone who
It's
already,
brilliant.
yeah.
And it's very wise. And so we transition through 4 different cycles in our life, and we're moving all the time cyclically. And it's death and rebirth all the time. So I think that is incredible advice. So I'm intrigued to know, do you have any role models who are empowered women? And if you do, why are they your role models?
Oh, interesting. So there are many. I mean, what's the word? Bracket out? No. I mean, all of the liberation through movement people, all of the womb with me ladies, you, Sonia, no doubt in my mind. That's just my closest mentors for sure. I would say I'm learning that my mother actually is a huge role model regarding being an empowered woman. And I think I knew that as a child. And then there was a long period where it was probably also really good that I completely forgot that and separated myself from that. But actually now, the older I get, and we were talking about me moving from the maiden to the mother, there are many things that I can see now that are actually super empowered behavior that I just couldn't place as a teenager or as a young adult. And she's gaining more and more respect from me the older I get, and the more I realize things. So my mother, my sister as well, she went through the storm so heavily, and just witnessing her was just such a blessing, and seeing her come out of the other side, oh man. And then I have her book here, because I always have her book here. Clarissa and Nicholas. I think this woman is beyond empowered woman. That's just, I don't know. It's crazy. I use this book almost as a Bible, and it's like, teach me. So yeah, I would say, oh, but there's so many, literally. I'm just now thinking of all my yoga teachers, and Talia Sutra is a woman that is just so owning her shit. That's a weird way of putting it, but it's just, she has a way of handling herself with such an open heart in the world, and she literally has boundaries of steel and the most compassionate heart I know. There's so many, but these
But
are
I love how you explained all of them, because I always find that fascinating. I find there's often a theme that picks up. So, would you say the womb work you did contributed to you becoming an empowered woman?
100%, 100%. Yeah.
And what aspects of it contributed?
Well, I would say when I started, I have to say unconsciously, because it didn't feel like a conscious decision, oh, I will go on that path now. It's just more like I went. And there were many days where I was like, what have I done? I don't want to leave. So when I made the decision, I realized, and I think it was more like a sensation, a feeling, oh, phases, transitions. And as you said, we have like these 4 big transitions throughout the life. And for the first time, I could orient myself in time and space where I was. Like, okay, yeah, I'm Amber, I have this age, I live here. But also I'm at the end of my first love and I'm in the beginning of here. It was just, and now it sounds like it was coming from my head, but it was more like a feeling, like, oh, I know where I am and how I am right now. So that was really helpful. And then connecting to the womb work, it's almost your life in 28 days. And that just breaking it down and seeing it on a daily basis, because it's so hard to have an overview all the time from your life, obviously, because A, you don't know what's happening, and B, you're so in it. But then breaking it down to this more detailed thing and then learning about the phases. And then again, I could orient myself in the span of a month and sometimes in the span of a day, helped me so, so, so much to have a direction again, not being like this confused, flattered bird, but being like, oh, here I am. That helped immensely. And just, yeah, really getting my repetitions on in accepting the cycle, accepting the cycle, accepting the cycle. And it's easier to do that on a monthly basis than on a span of a lifetime. So yeah, that was a huge thing. And yeah, also, I mean, especially in the beginning, we were talking a lot about balancing the feminine, the masculine energy, or the solar and lunar energy. And that was a huge problem because when I started, I was so much in my masculine, and then I slipped so much in the feminine, and that was a crazy, crazy time. And I'm glad that I had all my sisters with me just from the sidelines, like, okay, we see you.
I did the
It was, and actually, I said to my partner yesterday, like, there are parts that I miss from that time because I was just so free. I was so in it. I was so intuitive. Oh, it was beautiful. And it was also one of the most creative times of my life because that was the time where we really, I don't know, did the book and like gathered it all. But there are also things that I don't miss about that time because now the masculine came back in, the structure came back in. Now I can pick an outfit, literally, just like I put it on, it's okay. Before that, no. But again, before that, I was like bathing in my yoni steaming ritual cacao. Oh, also so nice. So yeah, getting into the womb health and learning this womb wisdom, it helped me to connect more to this more structured way of living. It put a frame around a lot of the frenzy and craziness and allowed me to, as I said, sit down almost like a student and write everything in my little moon journal and understand it and practice it. And so in a weird way, I would say it kind of lifted me out of this well, I would almost say maiden state of enjoying life immensely, but also having no idea what's going on at all, which is nice, but it's also a bit unsustainable after a while.
Yeah. And that is the feminine, and that's why I love how you've explained the balancing and how we have the feminine and the masculine to hold us, and then we can have all the juiciness and the great things of the feminine. So this woman, as you have heard, is incredible. She's a very wise woman. She has sat literally in circles for years. She has embodied the womb work very, very deeply. She has her own embodiment practices on top of it. So if you want to work with her, I will connect you to her Instagram in the show notes below. But is there anything you're working on that you're excited about, or anything you want to share with anybody? She also runs the most incredible moon journaling workshops. The women in the community are absolutely crazy about her, and she's an incredible space holder. She also runs circles. So, yes, if there's anything you want to share.
Mhm. Thank you. So much. So yeah, I love doing the moon journal workshops, and I've kind of am planning to do it in a more length. So have almost like a 4 week container where we can
Amazing.
really meet on a regular basis and check each other out and get to it. And so I will definitely post it on my Instagram that when that time is coming, I will post it in Womb Unity. So I could see that happening in August, but let's see. And then I'm really excited because in October, I'm publishing my next book. It's called Mama India. And it's, yeah, I would say not the second book of, it's not like writing myself out of misery part 2, but it's another part of the journey for sure. Like it continues. So yeah, that will come out in October. Again, that will be on my Instagram. And yeah, I'm also really excited to get back into teaching yoga again online, because I did that a year ago and I just really loved it. So yeah, if you're interested in that, again, you can message me, or I will post everything in Womb Unity always, or on Instagram.
And for those not in community watching, can they get a copy of your book if they just message you on Instagram?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can buy it online or you can message me and I also have it here.
Amazing. So this is Amber. As you can see, she's such an incredible woman. I will post all her contact details below. Thank you for taking the time and space to journey with us, to be inspired by her story and the stories to change the narrative of who we be as women, so that you can rise and own your sovereignty. Wherever you are in the world, have a beautiful day, and sending you so much love from our space till we meet again.